With playoff hopes on the edge of a knife, Lexington SC welcomes their state neighboring Chattanooga Red Wolves at Toyota Stadium for Week 28 action on ESPN Plus, presented by UK Healthcare. Welcome one and all to this broadcast. My name is Mark Schoenster. We appreciate you tuning in. Looking forward to getting these 90 minutes underway. The Chattanooga Red Wolves knocked out of playoff contention last weekend. Now they'll be looking to see how far up the standings they can go by the season's end. Meanwhile, Lexington still in the race, but they are the last place team that is still alive in that capacity. They need to win out the rest of their way if they're going to have any chances. But at home, they've found a lot of winning ways, which is where they're going to be playing here this evening. 6 of their 7 wins have come in front of their partisan crowd, including against some quality teams across USL League One. They feed off the energy of the home fans. They like the way the turf feels. They just understand how the ball moves on it. And look, they've been able to draw and knock off some of the league's best, including Union Omaha, which is the last time Union Omaha lost a game since their insane win streak started. A 3-0 loss at Toyota Stadium. It was this Lexington team that got the job done. And one of the players they'll be looking to carry that kind of success through in the next 90 minutes is Tate Robertson. Now look, Tate Robertson has demonstrated that he can hit a ball deadly and score at dead ball situations. But the fact of the matter is his most valuable asset is his delicious cross. He can serve up his teammates, put them in the right spot to score some goals. They're going to have to keep looking for Tate Robertson to pick out the right pass and find some scoring opportunities here this evening. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, a quantity that was known earlier in the season for Chattanooga is getting another crack at the starting lineup. Mael Malongo, just an electric player when the ball is at his feet. Went down to injury and is now trying to crack his way back into the good graces and into the starting lineup here. When things happen with him, he can make magic happen on the pitch. And let's see if he has that chance to do it this evening. Well, it's two sides that are really looking to prove themselves here at the end of the season. Let's see if either of them can claim 3 points in the next 90 minutes. Lineups and kickoff are coming up next on ESPN Plus. It's Lexington and Chattanooga.
Saving up for your goals should be effortless. That's why Commonwealth Credit Union invented Roundup. Roundup automatically puts money into your savings account by rounding up every purchase to the nearest dollar. So your morning brew? Savings. Dinner with friends? How about a side of savings? Mobile purchase? Mobile savings. In fact, last year our members saved $5.5 million just through Roundup. We'll even match your savings for the first 90 days. It's time to make your savings effortless with Roundup. Only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently. Commonwealth Credit Union is growing and hiring. If you have a passion to help others, come check us out. Our mission is to better lives in the communities we serve through financial products and services, leading-edge technology, and a commitment to treat every person with respect. If you'd like to join our team, visit our website to learn more about our extraordinary culture, pay, benefits, and the many more reasons we are voted a best place to work in Kentucky. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
With the procession taking place here at Toyota Stadium, it's Lexington SC and Chattanooga Red Wolves FC, presented by UK Healthcare. So welcome you back here on ESPN Plus. My name is Mark Schoenster. Let's take a peek at the starting lineups today for these two sides. First off, with now a proper week of preparation, this is what Nacho Novo is coming out with in his second match as the interim manager for Lexington. Pretty familiar with what they did last time out, but Don Smart getting back into the swing of things now, the veteran. In the middle of the pitch, we paired with Pierre Mane, who scored his first professional goal. Last time out, this team played, so the congratulations can be extended to him as well as Tate Robertson for making Team of the Week in their efforts of a 2-2 draw last weekend against the Charlotte Independents. Meanwhile, for the Chattanooga Red Wolves, more tweaking has to be done with this side due to Manuel Madrid being out for a red card suspension. Luckily, Nico Cardona has made his way back to the side and can fill into that center back spot. He's a guy who can play both at right back and at center back. They've got two players who aren't naturally fullbacks. Both been learning that position this season, and Pedro Hernandez and Riley Crafton both have been more than enthusiastic about that happening and developing new skill set in that role. And then, of course, Mael Malongo in the top of the formation. Such an electric player. Get the ball in his feet, and they'll hope to find some goals on the end of the opportunities he generates. Here's our UK healthcare injury report, and boy, is there a contrast between these two sides. Lexington have been so good this season as far as their health is concerned. Such a fit side. They've not picked up the kind of injuries that some of these teams had, like Chattanooga. 7 players listed out, 6 of them hurt. Manuel Madrid is out with a red card suspension due to his challenge last weekend against the Owls. A lot of defensive players in that list, which has meant that the back line has had to get tweaked and changed game by game for Scott McKenzie, which is not ideal. You always want consistency on your back line, which they've had in Mikhail Williams, and they've started to have with Pedro Hernandez and Riley Kraft. Of course, those two still developing their talents in a new role in the system. And we are underway here from Toyota Stadium. It's Lexington and Chattanooga. Once again, we welcome you in here on the broadcast on ESPN+. My name is Mark Schoenster, excited to get things going here. We've got a Chattanooga side that now will be focused on their growth and development for the rest of this season and setting themselves up for next year. Lexington, although still alive as of right now, they're awfully close to that point in time. They have to win out and then hope every other result goes in their favor. Now, this weekend, the first of that has taken place because right now they're trying to keep up with Madison and Greenville. Madison losing earlier against the Charlotte Independent, so that works in Lexington's favor. Here come the Red Wolves. Got to worry about their games first and foremost, who they're playing. Talking about Lexington and Chattanooga. This is all about taking the necessary steps here. The rest of the season, still a lot to play for, even though postseason is not an option anymore for this club. And you look at North Carolina FC. Did not have a successful year last year, but they did end in a positive stretch, and that carries over. It's a very real thing. Robertson. Back to Seja Gonzalez, who clears it down the pitch, and then a foul called, drawn by Khalid Balagoon. Cardona, the guilty party. Mel Knight plays it over to Robertson. Just 2 losses all season long in front of this home crowd here for Lexington, which is an impressive number. I mean, that matches up with the likes of clubs like Union Omaha with how effective they've been at home. We got Nacho Novo, the new head man in the coaching department for Lexington. That announced the day of their previous game. So now he's had a full week to sort of sit in that role. I asked him how it felt in that first game, and he mentioned he was a little bit nervous going into the match. Here's an opportunity for Chattanooga. Shot taken, saved by Emil Knight. Targeted towards the center of the goal. Knight able to take care of that. Look again on the replay. Ropapa Mensah trying to find his 10th goal of the season, looking to get into double digits. He would join Siobhan Marsh in that category for Chattanooga as far as double-digit scores are concerned. Marsh out hurt today. Chattanooga coming with some aggression. Here's Malongo. Malongo shoots and it deflects off of Fox out for a corner kick. The Red Wolves out with a bite to start this one. So they'll be the ones with the first set piece of the evening. And there is Mael Malongo from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. He showed flashes at the beginning of the year. He had tons of chances, wasn't able to put them away frequently, but he was generating them. He came awfully close several times. Was one of those guys that at the beginning of the year, I was thinking, if it clicks for him, look out. Perhaps that's something he can accomplish here at the end of the season. It can carry over into next year. Felipe serves it in. That's headed away by Frankie Martinez. And it's Martinez once again. This Lexington side still adjusting to the new tutelage. Nacho Nova mentioned that he didn't have the full week to prepare for that first match, but even with that in mind, the guys were receptive and gave their 100% in that game against Charlotte. Malongo trying to demonstrate his inventiveness there, but then the foul on Lomas gives it to the home side. Here's Machel. And this is going to come back for Chattanooga. They'll quickly retake it. Walefi will push it forward. Martinez does everything he can to keep that from being a corner kick. He's successful in that regard. And after it slips through the hands of Knight, he's able to recover it. And Lexington will push forward. Not been able to sustain possession for very long, Lexington. Chattanooga, they're coming off of a 3-2 loss against Union Omaha last week at home. And Scott McKenzie kept it real with me. He said, look, Omaha, in my opinion, is the best team in the league. It's kind of hard to argue anybody else right now. And I think he has a fair point there. 9 straight wins coming into this weekend. And he said we were down some core players, and we still competed with them. In the second half in particular, we really showed a lot of fight. And he said to compete with a team that's playing the way they're playing right now, it says a lot about our character. Gomez knocks it over to Hernandez. He drives that one in. Clearance will go out. Lexington will have possession. Of course, one of those goals came late in the game, sort of gift-wrapped by Union Omaha, but sometimes the scoreline doesn't always tell the story one way or another, but in that case, it actually did properly tell how in the match Chattanooga was against the hottest team in the league by far. And in a similar vein, Nacho Novo in a 2-2 draw against Charlotte on Sunday last week said there was more positive than negative. I asked him if there was any frustration that 3 points could have been acquired. They had a penalty saved, and one of their goals they conceded was off a pretty serious miscue. And he said, well, still felt the good of the match outweighed the bad. And he said, look, I mean, I want the team to play with more attacking fervor, and we scored twice from good offensive play. And yeah, there are some mistakes, but everyone makes mistakes. As long as you learn from them, then it's perfectly fine, especially in the position they're in at this point in time. They'll want their guys to take anything that they can learn from these matches and hold them to heart. Only way you can get better. As one coach put it one time, in my experience of covering the sport, they say it's not winning and losing, it's winning and learning. And that's a mode that both of these clubs will very much be operating under at this point in the season. Kind of in that vein, Scott McKenzie talking about what they're looking to accomplish for the rest of the season. He says, well, there's the immediate needs of what we need to do, just the tactical adjustments of how to get some results for the rest of the season. Felipe brings it down. Looked to have earned a deflection and a corner kick, and he will. Because they're still looking to claim 3 points in these matches. They want to push themselves up the table. They're trying to catch up to the likes of the Richmond Kickers and beyond that. But also there are big picture goals that seep into next season. We want to lay the groundwork and foundation now for next year. And they can find a win on the road. Obviously, that's huge. Kraft drives that one in. And ends up going into the hands of Knight. And it's worth, on top of that, acknowledging that these players are playing for their contracts. Smart. Over to Brown. Nico Brown shoots, and it's off the post. First opportunity for Lexington. Hits the woodwork. Don Smart having to track back to the ball. Wasn't waved offside. And then he sent Nico Brown, their second best goal scorer this season, off to take a crack at it. Malongo steps inside, then gets it poked out of his clutches before ricocheting off of him and out for a goal kick. Yeah, I mean, the playoffs aren't everything. You can go to the micro level to each individual. Of course, most of these players, you go contract by contract, season by season. So they're looking to prove themselves, whether it be for the club they're playing for to re-sign them for next season, or to prove themselves and get signed elsewhere. And we see the off-season switch-arounds, players hopping from one team to another in a league, or going up a league or down a league, or even going outside of the United States. You look at like a Mario Lomas, who played in USL League One back in 2021, then went out of the U.S. and has found himself back in play here for the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Smart plays this one out to the left-hand side. A lot of different black jerseys around, but end up being too far ahead of Robertson, who was the one trotting towards the ball. Now, these are two teams that are certainly looking to show for themselves in Lexington, like I mentioned earlier. Not eliminated yet, but you know, look at the numbers. It's highly unlikely. Lomas slips it by the keeper. And Chattanooga scores on the road. Speaking of someone who's been on a voyage and has returned back to the League One ranks, Mario Lomas bagging his second of the season. That's a fantastic ball from Felipe. He's able to slide that one down, and Lomas connects on it. And that long-awaited opening goal for Chattanooga has been found. Scott McKenzie has been waiting for his side to strike first in one of these games. They've proven that they can fight from behind. They've even found some victories since Scott McKenzie has taken over after conceding first. Now we'll finally get to see another side to this Chattanooga team that we haven't seen since the interim coach has taken over, which is how do they behave when they get that early goal. They've certainly looked the more dangerous side, and now they have the scoreline to show for it. And here's another dangerous situation. They're able to avoid it for now, but under a lot of duress. And Lexington find a response. Don Smart making the run. Smart gets it out to Balagoon. Khalid Balagoon shoots, and it's cleared off the line. Tracking back was Nico Cardona, and now it's headed down and saved by Aviles. Nearly a leveling goal, but Cardona, with his body flying, gets in the way of the shot. Now the Red Wolves are going. Malongo keeps it, shoots, and he misses. Back and forth here at Toyota Stadium. Here's a look at the chance for the home side. Smart finds a wide open Balagoon. And you know that's exactly what Cardona is doing, just sprinting behind his keeper, hoping that if it gets by him, that at least he's in the way, and in the way he was. After the return of Cardona, who comes up huge here, and now gets to play it over to Hernandez. Felipe. Mane on his back, now double teamed. He wins the throw in. We want to show something for this season. That was what Scott McKenzie was telling me earlier this week. And so they're looking to show what they're made of here. Meanwhile, Lexington currently putting themselves in a spot where the playoffs will be concluded. They would not be able to make it if the result holds the way it is, or even if they find a goal. They need to get all 3 points to stay alive. They're in that situation where, for the rest of the season, they practically need to win all the rest of their games, and they need either Greenville or Madison to nearly lose out. Felipe takes a shot and scores! It knuckles in for Johnny Felipe. What a strike from the Loney. Just finds a pocket of space. And that one dips down and in. And what a start here for Chattanooga. It is just clicking right now for them. They came out of the gate looking mighty vicious. Just a sensational strike from the kid from Danbury, Connecticut. This being his 10th appearance for the Chattanooga Red Wolves. And he's really shown himself in every element of the game. And now has his first goal as a Red Wolf. And Chattanooga going for it again here. Why not strike while the iron is hot and put this game to bed? Hernandez throws over to Gomez. The visitors pounding on this Lexington side right now. Kraft. He can serve in across. They don't have to play it back. They've been looking for some of that bite, some of that viciousness that is synonymous with that of their namesake. And it has come to fruition here in the first 20 minutes. Let's see what Nacho Novo's side can do in response. Certainly not the opening stretch that they were looking to have. Certainly something that hasn't taken place too frequently here at Toyota Stadium. Lomas to Felipe, and they've sprung forward again. Hernandez slips it to Mensah. Mensah shoots. It's bodied away by Knight. And a high boot there on Walefi. Means it'll be a free kick for the home team. Amel Knight is putting his body between Mensah's shot and the goal. Couldn't quite collect it, but ultimately that's the secondary need. Robertson is trying to sift it to Nico Brown. And Aviles will redistribute this one. And he's going to knock it forward to his forwards, and why not? They have been cooking early. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. This is a Chattanooga team that Nacho Novo described as very aggressive, like to make lots of crosses, and a team that they're going to need to be on top of during the match. But so far, Chattanooga has been on top of Lexington, both in the score sheet, but also just in this game. They have been bearing down on this Lexington side for the entirety of this match. And while Scott McKenzie was anticipating that this Lexington team would come in hungry and would come after it, but so far they've had to chase down his side. He's very complimentary of the way this Lexington team plays. He said they play some nice football. Also brought to me just how crazy it was that he's coaching against Nacho Novo, a legendary footballer in places across the pond. Was one of Scott McKenzie's heroes when he was younger, watching the game at Rangers. He's a Rangers fan himself. Felipe. Over to Gomez. Won't get further than that. Mane will drive it forward. And McKenzie was telling me that Nacho Novo was responsible for some fantastic memories and days of yore for Scott McKenzie. Mentioned just how unbelievable of a footballer he was at Rangers. So if he's even half the coach he was a player, then he's going to do a great job here in Lexington. Service comes in, headed away by Martinez. Felipe. Over to Gomez. Couldn't quite keep possession at the top of the 18, but like it's been today, they win the ball right back. It has just been a siege on this Lexington side. Kraft decides to drill it himself. That one, I believe, went off of the field goal posts. Riley Kraft with a banger of a goal from the dead ball last game against Union Omaha, taken from a similar spot on the pitch. Always a workhorse on that left side of the pitch. Martinez plays this one all the way back tonight. Lexington need to figure out a way to settle this game down and enjoy some possession, because right now they're continually having to win the ball back from Chattanooga, who are snatching it from their clutches the moment they even get a touch on it. That one went off of Don Smart. Gomez surveying around. He'll have to play it back to his keeper. And Chattanooga pushing forward once again. Malongo on it. Looking to shake off his man. Malongo wins another corner kick. Another corner kick for Chattanooga. Felipe, the taker once again. And he won't play this inside. Instead, it's up to Alefi. Opting for a different vantage point, and then Alefi wins it right back once again, like clockwork for Chattanooga. Felipe, into the 18 he goes. Tries to slice it in. Now Malongo, back across the center, and the header deflects off of Martinez. And another corner kick coming for the Red Wolves. It has just been an overwhelming Red Wolves attack for the first 30 minutes of this game. Ball floated in. Lomas keeps it in play. Gets his leg up in the air to maintain the run of play. Combining right now, Chattanooga. Some contact there, resulting in a foul. Losing his balance was Omar Gomez. One of two guys who played at Park City at a point in time with Scott McKenzie. Malongo gets by his man. Mael Malongo plays it back. Kraft back into the mixer. Smart has to get it away. Robertson now taps it up the pitch to Balagoon. And you would think, with the way these two teams are playing right now, that Chattanooga looks like the team that is trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Just been a flat start from Lexington. It's all part of that learning process, though. Get a new manager in. This one headed down nicely to Brown. And then it looks like we'll be getting our first corner kick for Lexington today. I believe the disparity is 5 corner kicks to now 1 for Lexington.
And that's a UK Healthcare corner for Lexington.
It'll be our first UK Healthcare corner kick of the evening. Machel floats that one long. And looking to head it back across, it ends up just going out of play. Suffered a deflection though, which means it'll be another Lexington corner, this time from the other vantage point.
Lexington Sporting Club corner number 8, Charlie Machel.
And it's another UK Healthcare corner kick. Charlie Machel will take it from the right-hand side of the captain. But not swinging into the box. He'll get it right back. Smart. He'll drive this one in. Martinez trying the apt touch. They are trying to spring Malongo free there. Smart, right down the center, and a push from Cardona means a free kick for Lexington. And another free kick. This one, once again for Lexington. Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023, whether your club is on the road or at home. Catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+. The home to the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Make sure you keep that subscription going here for postseason play next month. Robertson always can serve up a nice ball, but that one will get headed out of play. Never shrug off a set piece from this Lexington side. If they can find a goal and put this back within 1, then that could change the complexion of this match and also the flow of play, which has been so heavily in favor of Chattanooga. That just given away right there. One of the big talking points and I would say motifs of the discussion I had with Nacho Nova this week, our first chance to talk to the guy. Learning was a big thing for him, for players, for the club as a whole being in their first year. And one thing about it is just the game in general. He said, I mean, football is a sport that is changing all the time. No coach knows everything. He said it's a game that is constantly in a state of developing and growing. I asked him what's something he's learned this season as an assistant coach in this league, and he said concentration levels are oh so important in this league in particular. As Gomez plays it to Mensah, who taps it right back. Gomez goes down. Ref says play on. Plays it back. And as I was saying, he said goals come from mistakes. There's also a lot of goals that happen later in games, which are the result of lower energy, and that concentration then begins to falter. So just an aspect to the game that he's really latched onto this season and taken note of. Chattanooga with a explosive start to this game. Up 2 goals after a goal from Mario Slomis, and then Johnny Felipe with an excellent strike to make it 2. They have looked all that part. Unrelenting for a lot of this first half of action. 35 minutes in here. Kalen Fox. Northern Kimball Jackson getting a start today. Just his 3rd appearance of the season for Lexington, a Lexington native. This ball floats over. Brown still with it. Nico Brown. White finding the room. He shoots it right into a defender. And there's Kimball Jackson now. From Lexington, Kentucky. Just 19 years old, getting the opportunity. That'll be a Lexington throw. We're about to see just how aggressive these next 10 minutes from Lexington are. I'd be surprised if they commit more numbers forward. Nacho Nova was telling me that for the rest of the season, he wants his side to be more attacking minded. He's mentioning that he would rather lose fighting than trying to hold on tight and let it slip, which is something that's happened at points this season. So let's play ball. Let's make it happen. I believe in these boys, and I believe they can play. Made some tweaks in that first game where he's taken over. He said they responded well. Excellent back heel, but then it gets knocked away. Will be another corner kick for Lexington.
That's another UK Healthcare Lexington Sporting Club corner, number 2, Tate Robertson.
Pierre Mane just getting his cleat on that one to pop it into some space. That UK Healthcare corner kick taken quickly. Balagoon tries to roll it back in. And now here's Malongo. This is where he's so dangerous. Mael Malongo galloping down, takes the shot, and it's off target. He was all by himself. Here's a look at it again. It's just knife forward by Walefi, and then Malongo makes his way down. Don Smart catching up to him. Maybe too much time to think there for Mael Malongo. He's shaking his head. Scott McKenzie called him a young man with all the attributes. Now it's about application. Getting that starting shot this game, an opportunity he's earned himself these past 2 weeks. Brown gets clipped up right inside the penalty area, and a point to the spot by our head official. Means Lexington have a chance to have this deficit. The challenge by Mikhail Williams just inside the marking. Doesn't make any contact with the ball, and he goes to the ground, and he immediately puts his hands on his head. And Eamon Hadzic, our head official, points to the penalty spot. And Nico Brown, the one who drew the penalty, looks to be the one to take it. Don Smart's a guy who's taken many a penalty in League One, but it looks like Brown will be looking for goal number 8 on the season and could open things back up for Lexington. Brown shoots and he scores. Lexington are on the board. And perhaps this could turn the tide in their favor for the rest of this affair. Sometimes you just need a little luck and then you can ride the wave that ensues. From Elk Ridge, Maryland, Nico Brown getting his 8th goal of the season. He's been a fun player to watch here at Lexington this season. He's only behind his teammate Ates Diouf as far as goals scored this season with 8. It doesn't take long to score a couple goals. Chattanooga proved that earlier in this game. Jackson with a good challenge there. And the Red Wolves find a response. They've been so good here in the first 40 minutes. Kraft plays in the middle. Mensah! It's an immediate response from Chattanooga. Ropapa Mensah into double figures. Riley Kraft. Excellent run from him. Then he connects with the center forward, who bags his 10th goal of the season. Ropapa Mensah, a striker from Ghana. Such an inventive goal scorer. He's the kind of guy that when the ball is at his feet in the 18, no matter where it is, you know he can contort his body and put it on frame. Didn't exactly have to do much acrobatics or contorting there. His teammate is serving him up the ball, and then he places it out of the reach of the keeper. 3 goals in the first half for Chattanooga, and that is an immediate response to the penalty goal scored by Lexington. This is the Chattanooga team that knows where they can get and knows where they can't get this season. So they're looking to take it one placement at a time in the standings, which means the Richmond Kickers are the first team that they're shooting to surpass. Balagoon gets by one man. Still going with it, gets tripped up. That was more by his own accord than anything. Malongo heads it into some space, but Jackson does well there to keep on fighting. Worth noting, with that goal scored by Ropapa Mensah, Chattanooga are just the second team this season to have 2 double-digit scorers, the first of which, of course, being North Carolina FC with Olex Anderson and Rafa Mensigan. But now with Siobhan Marsh and Ropapa Mensah, the Chattanooga Red Wolves join a pretty small company of teams across League One's history to have that. Of course, more games this season than any year prior, but we haven't reached that point yet. So if it were a 30-game season like it was last year, they would have reached that mark. And here they are again, but Malongo's offside. Knew another team would reach that mark, Chattanooga. Not the first ones, but the second ones to do it. Machel is trying to pop that one forward to Smart. Is making tons of runs on this pitch, both offensively and then tracking back on some of these breakaways for Chattanooga. Guy who can cover the distance, John Smart. Didn't start last game, last saw him against Central Valley Fuego earlier this month. Martinez plays it over to Brown, and the offside flag will pop up. Halftime impending. When we hit the break, we'll go over some highlights and talk about the playoff race as it stands right coming into this weekend. Big game as far as playoff implications earlier today between Charlotte and Madison. Charlotte awfully close to clinching now with 3 points at home against the Mingos. Madison will still have to be staving off the encroachers. Malongo. Inside the 18 now, still dancing with the ball at his feet. Connects with Lomas. And Lomas tried to sneak that one in near post. A lot of work there. Malongo, 1-on-1, then 1-on-2. Was able to get it away. Hits the brakes, and that's enough space for him to find Lomas. As you see there, 2 minutes of added time here in the first half. Brown plays this one forward, and Aviles smart there to come off his line, and he followed his instincts quick enough and was able to beat the encroaching Lexington players to the punch, or to the kick if you want to be literal. About 30 more seconds to go. Can Lexington throw one more thing at Chattanooga? And there's your halftime whistle. Chattanooga ravenous from the Red Wolves for the first 45 minutes. 3-1 in favor of the visitors. They came out ferocious. And the only thing keeping them from a 3-0 scoreline is a penalty scored by Nico Brown, keeping this game within reasonable distance for Lexington, but it is a deep hole they find themselves in as they are staring elimination in the face. Well, a lot of action in that first half of soccer between Lexington and Chattanooga. We're going to step aside for a moment. When we come back, we'll have some highlights from the midweek, and we'll talk playoff scenarios here on ESPN+.
Saving up for your goals should be effortless. That's why Commonwealth Credit Union invented Roundup. Roundup automatically puts money into your savings account by rounding up every purchase to the nearest dollar. So your morning brew? Savings. Dinner with friends? How about a side of savings? Mobile purchase? Mobile savings. In fact, last year our members saved $5.5 million just through Roundup. We'll even match your savings for the first 90 days. It's time to make your savings effortless with Roundup. Only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Commonwealth Credit Union is growing and hiring. If you have a passion to help others, come check us out. Our mission is to better lives in the communities we serve through financial products and services, leading-edge technology, and a commitment to treat every person with respect. If you'd like to join our team, visit our website to learn more about our extraordinary culture, pay, benefits, and the many more reasons we are voted a best place to work in Kentucky. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
As we welcome you back here to Toyota Stadium for some halftime content on ESPN+. 3-1 your scoreline between the Chattanooga Red Wolves and Sporting Club Lexington. We've got some highlights from the middle of the week, 2 games. We'll also talk some playoff scenarios, so let's jump right into those 2 matches that took place earlier this week. The first and second place teams in terms of clean sheets met for the first time in 4 months on Wednesday. It all started here with Northern Colorado's Trevor Ammon. He may be having the best season a striker's ever had in USL League One, but that does not mean he's able to get past Burnt Shipman here. Madison hung on early in this one, and then a window of opportunity arose. One mid-season acquisition fouls another inside the penalty area, making it a chance at the spot. But instead, it's just a moment for history for Lalo Delgado, who becomes the first keeper in League One history to complete 4 penalty saves over a career, not just in a season, over a career, which is incredible. Then just moments later, Noah Powder once again find Trevor Ammon, but nope, not happening. Burnt Shipman is too agile right now in the first half. It is just all the keepers stealing the spotlight, and then in the second half, the keepers would get bailed out by their team here. Trevor Ammon, maybe 3rd time's a charm, but Jake Kroll comes sliding in. Clean sheets are, in fact, a team stat. Not all on the keepers. Of course, these are 2 great keepers in this game. Then Madison would have one more chance. Christian Chaney, another prolific goal scorer. Can he find the back of the net? Well, nothing Lalo Delgado hasn't seen before. He swats that one away, keeping it 0-0 on the game. Both keepers with 2 individual clinics on why they have more shutouts than anybody else in the league. 0-0 is the final. Then later that night in Fresno, it'd be Olex Anderson, the guy behind Trevor Ammon in the Golden Boot race, would get one back since Ammon was not able to find the score sheet on that same night. Great ball from Nathan and Talu, excuse me. It's 15 goals on the season for Olex Anderson. By the way, with the hailstorm draw earlier in the day, North Carolina can take the #1 spot going into the weekend if they get all 3 points here. And look at this from Garrett McLaughlin. Just excellent placement. He now has 7 goals and 6 assists on the season. What an asset he is offensively in his second year with North Carolina FC. What a player. Then just 6 minutes later in this one, it'd be Francois Dulis who is called for a penalty. That's 2 games in a row now that the center back has been guilty of a foul that has resulted in a point to the spot, and Rafa Menzigan knows what to do with it. 3 goals for North Carolina FC, 3 points for North Carolina FC, first place going into the weekend. But the fact of the matter is that Union Omaha has a game in hand. So let's talk about the playoffs. These are the 3 teams who have already punched their tickets. Worth noting, Union Omaha now have the highest max points out of these 3 teams with the hailstorm draw on Wednesday. That means if the Owls, they win out, which sounds like crazy, but they've won 9 games in a row coming into today, they would have the #1 spot. They would be hosting in that regard. Now here are the teams racing to get a playoff spot. The Jacks, the Mingos, and Greenville Triumph all sitting in place to solidify a spot. They can get a couple more victories. You look at those magic numbers, it is in their hands to solidify a spot in the playoffs. But they do have some teams approaching them, still trying to race in, sneak in last second. One Knoxville, Tormenta, very much in it. Lexington are on the brink of elimination at this point in time. They need every single ball to bounce their way, along with them winning out for the rest of the season. With that in mind, we're going to step aside. When we come back, we'll have news and notes with you on ESPN+.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Here are some things worth discussing across the league. First off, it is Hispanic Heritage Month. Be sure to check out all of the activations and events that are occurring. Go to USL League One's website to get all the details on that. I talked about Nacho Novo, the new man in charge for Lexington here in this match in just his second game as the interim head coach. Then Player of the Week, Lalo Delgado. Congratulations to him. As we also look at the rest of the players who come alongside Lalo Delgado in that regard. Pierre Mane and Tate Robertson, two guys that got some acknowledgement this week, but Mane, the one on the list, making the appearance here. No one to acknowledge for Chattanooga, but that's going to change with this next week with how they performed in the first half of action. Meanwhile, talking about what's taking place right now in Week 28, we've got the two matches that are taking place today, either the Charlotte game, which finished already, 2 goals in that one for Corey Bennett, one for Omar Sisk. A very important match between Tormenta and Knoxville, still scoreless there, and you saw the highlights for the 2 scores above. Also a couple more games happening today, and let's actually talk about the upcoming schedule in USL League One. Got some big ones tonight, including the Hailstorm against North Carolina FC. I'd highly recommend you tune into that one. Those are 2 teams vying for a bye, vying for that #1 spot, and trying to keep up to an Omaha team that just keeps winning. And they are looking to keep that win streak into double digits with a victory over Central Valley Fuego tonight. And then we did have a game get postponed to tomorrow due to some worries about weather between the Kickers and the Greenville Triumph. And we got another 45 minutes of action here on the other side of this break. We'll see you then on ESPN+.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Girls like you aren't runners, they said. Well, I wasn't.
Let's go ahead and get some pictures of that knee, okay?
6 months, down the drain. Give up
Keep the rhythm going.
or get up.
Perfect.
Who's not a runner now?
You don't have to be an elite athlete to be treated like one. UK Healthcare, Orthopedic Surgery, and Sports Medicine, the power of advanced medicine.
This is where worry turns into relief, where confusion turns into answers. This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
As we welcome you back to the tail end of halftime here on ESPN Plus, here are the highlights from the first 45 minutes. We are jam-packed with them. Starting off with Johnny Felipe threading the needle, and Marius Lomas getting his second goal of the season, getting it by a male knight, making it 1-0 in favor of the Red Wolves, and they would find another goal just 5 minutes later. Lomas celebrating with his side and with Felipe, who assisted him, and then Johnny Felipe will get a crack of it, his own right here, as it finds him. He steps just by the 18, not inside of it, and knuckles that shot in. What a hit. A male knight stuck in place, was not anticipating that ball staying in the location it was at. But then an opportunity to get back into the run of things here for Lexington. Nico Brown draws the penalty, takes the penalty, and gives it a 2-1 scoreline, but then the Red Wolves immediately turn around a minute later and find a response goal. Ropapa Mensah dragging it on target. Great run from Riley Kraft, making it 3-1 in favor of the visitors, coming into what's been a fortress this season for Lexington and really showing their stuffs. Two really interesting facts worth noting on the Chattanooga side of things. 13 shots, which is higher than their season average of 12.3 across the whole game, not 45 minutes, across 90 minutes, 13 shots. An incredible output for just a half of action. Also worth noting, this is only the second time this season that Chattanooga has led at halftime. They won that other game 2-0 against Madison back in June. So they'll look to make it 2-0 on the season when leading at halftime. Only one substitution between the two sides. And it's an aggressive one, which, well, is much needed as we get action going here again at Toyota Stadium. Frankie Martinez, number 33, will come out of the game for number 32, Ates Diouf, whom they could use here in this one, Lexington. Ates Diouf, their leading goal scorer with 12 on the season. Welcome you back here on the broadcast. My name is Mark Schoenster. You missed out on the first 45 minutes of action. I hate to say it, but you missed quite a bit.
The referee has issued a yellow card to Chattanooga's number 5.
We're going to get a yellow card on Mikhail Williams. That's his 8th yellow of the season. Backing into Khalid Balagoon. Be interesting to see how Lexington come out the gate here in the second half, down 2 goals. They need to find 3 goals in order to stay alive in the playoff race. They got some of the assistance they needed earlier today. Madison, if they won, that meant that the only team they could catch up to is Greenville, but they could still, in theory, catch up to Madison at this point in time, given their loss against Charlotte. Handling your own business is always the primary thing, because that's what all of those elimination and clinching scenarios always hinge upon is, are you going to win out? Here's Diouf. And although that's going to roll across the goal line, it's not going to be a goal kick or a corner kick. It'll be a free kick. Nico Cardona drawing the foul there from Ates Diouf. Had the goal line clearance in the first half, Nico Cardona. This one knocked back into play by Aviles. Mane. Out to Jackson. He's able to connect with Smart. And Smart trying to float that one up. It hits the crossbar of the field goal posts. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the SXM app. Jackson with a diving header to get that to his keeper. The youngster doing everything he can to maintain safety. I always love asking this question to a newly appointed manager, in this case Nacho Novo, about who are some of the guys who have inspired him during his time playing and working, that have influenced his style that he looks to approach the game with as a manager. He said he's learned from so many coaches from so many different places, and you kind of pull a little bit from every one of them, which is a pretty universal answer to that one. I think everyone picks pieces a little bit, but a couple of the names he threw some kudos to. He said Paul Le Guen, one of his managers at Rangers, who also spent some time with Lyon and also coached for a couple of countries. And he also mentioned Alec McLeish, another one of his managers at Rangers, who also coached the Scottish national team in 2 separate stints. Felipe gets it right back. Kraft swings in the cross, and Robertson can let that one go by. There's one other name he brought up when we were talking, and it's a pretty famous one, Jose Mourinho. Of course, the head manager for Roma at this time. Mr. Jose. Saw from those highlights, he only caught the goals, but it was an onslaught in the first 45 minutes for Chattanooga. I asked Scott McKenzie about, outside of course, collecting results, finding victories, well, on the more soccer side of things, what does he want his team to accomplish in these last few games? And I think they've accomplished it here, at least for the first 45 minutes of action, but he said that we're working on building an identity. He talked about how Chattanooga has become known for being a resilient team, the cardiac Red Wolves. He mentioned comebacks are all over this team's short history, which he thinks is really, really cool and unique. Having been a witness to a lot of those comebacks, I'd definitely say they never be counted out of a game, Chattanooga. He said, we want that never say die mentality, and now they want to be less passive when they have the ball and put it into the opponent's half for more of the game, and boy, did they do that in the first half. They held down the fort for a lot of that first 45 minutes. I mean, 13 shots speaks for itself. He said in games past, since he's taken over, we've had a lot of attacking moments, but not attacking chances, and they've translated those in this game today. Been very positive from them, and you don't really need me to tell you that. A 3-1 scoreline pretty much does that trick for you, but the fact of the matter is in this case, the numbers on our scorebug match the way they've been playing. Of course, every now and then sometimes the game can be a little cruel and the scoreline doesn't quite tell the story, but it certainly is the case here. Chattanooga was thriving in the first half. I want to look at what they did there as a blueprint for what they want to do for the rest of this season and going into next season. And this is a chance for them to set themselves up for the 2024 season on the right foot. Whiz back as Lexington trying to find a way to progress it forward. If you can get one goal in, like I said earlier, make it a one-score game, then that opens things up, because 2 goals can be scored quickly at any given time. We've seen that throughout this year. Both these teams have done it in the past. I haven't seen too many 3-goal clumps, so if you're Lexington, you want to just get one of those out of the way. I'll go all the way out in this left-hand corner for a Chattanooga throw. Riley Kraft only has Malongo in the area. Mensah thought he won the corner kick, but it's going to be a goal kick. And Lexington will now, once again, enjoy some possession. They got to be careful. A lot of that first half was rife with them giving the ball away moments after earning possession. And that's just what happened here. Gomez turns and was clipped by Machel, which means a free kick for the visiting side. Our head official today, Amin Hadzic. Felipe lays it out wide. Back to Alefi. Alefi, the longtime Red Wolf, finds Malongo. Now Kraft. Kraft with the ball in, skipping around, and it's headed through. It's 4 goals on their tally now. And it's another first-time goal scorer for the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Omar Gomez on the finishing touch. Seeking ball from Kraft, and he's able to flick it in. Omar Gomez, just 23 years old, from Oxnard, California. Played with Scott McKenzie at Park City. And there he is with the head man right now, giving him a high five. He's been very positive since he's come in and played with Chattanooga. Shown a lot of quality. And now he's got a goal to show for it on the season. That makes Felipe and Gomez as 2 guys who are mid-season acquisitions finding their first goals in Red Wolves color. Now both of them have already racked up some assists this season. Both have shown their worth in other avenues. And here's Felipe now. Felipe driving it forward. Slips it over, Malongo! And just like that, Chattanooga with a 2nd goal in the second half. A 5-goal flurry for the visitors. And Mael Malongo in his return to a starting spot. You see here, has just got to slip that one by night. His second goal on the season, Mael Malongo. I mentioned it in the first half, an electric athlete and a guy who Scott McKenzie thinks just has to get it to click on the pitch. And it's moments like that where you just need to execute in the moment that's given to you. That's going to make him such a tantalizing prospect for Chattanooga, maybe for even leagues above him. I remember early in the year chatting about Malongo and hearing about how he used to blow by starters against LA Galaxy when he was with Albion last year. Albion San Diego, to be precise. Just looking for that mindset and consistency. But as some have called him, an MLS-level athlete, Nico Brown. Not too shabby of a striker himself. Glances that one off of Walefi. And it'll be a corner kick for Lexington.
That's another UK Healthcare corner for Lexington Sporting Club. Number 2, Tate Robertson.
So it'll be another UK Healthcare corner kick. Mitchell was searching for Kalen Fox. Like it glanced off of Gomez, so it'll be a corner kick from the other vantage point.
Lexington Sporting corner, number 2, Tate Robertson.
Another UK Healthcare corner kick for the home side. Find themselves deep in a hole now. Lomas nods it away. And then here's Malongo. Gonna turn on the burners. That one just clipped Mane. Or else Malongo would have kept flying. So 60 minutes down, 2/3 of the way through. 5 goals for the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Balogun shrugs off his man, but then loses his balance. What a performance from this Chattanooga side. You look at their expected goals, 1.37. That just shows how effective they've been in the attacking third. When they've been given the opportunity, they've been lethal. USL is celebrating Hispanic Latino Heritage Month with stories, events, and more, bringing to life this special celebration across the league. Go to uslsoccer.com/Hispanic-heritage to learn more. So Nico Brown, the goal scorer for Lexington, will sub out of the game, and So Kim will step in his stead. Certainly not the way this home side was looking for this game to go, in a game they needed to win. Barring a comeback unlike anything we've ever seen. This is going to be the end of the playoff line, at least for Lexington. But also, this is a chance for the side to make sure sure they get things set in stone, ready to go for next season. I've been talking about it in regards to Chattanooga today. Lexington will be in that same boat. It'll be about applying the groundwork, making the tweaks necessary while you still have meaningful games. Also assess the roster you have at your disposal, because obviously this will not be the same collection of players you'll have next year. You got to think about who are you going to fight to maintain. Maybe what positions you'll be looking to replace for next season. It's the unfortunate side of the business, but it's also just a fact of the matter. Balogun trying to get that one away, goes down. Ref says play on. Both players taking a tumble there, Nico Cardona and Khalid Balogun. We're talking about players showing for themselves and their quality. This Chattanooga side has been all that. Gomez tried to slip that one through to Malongo. Fox keeps it in and wins the goal kick. Talked about playing veteran teams with Nacho Novo in reference to Charlotte Independence, the team they last played. He said when you make mistakes against a top team, you will get hammered, and a lack of concentration is going to hurt you. He said, we acknowledge we're a young team. It's a part of the learning process. He also feels that where they sit in the table right now, they don't deserve. He thinks they're a good team and should be higher up the standings. It's mainly been mistakes in certain moments have cost us a few points this season. Today they've had some, obviously have had some issues against this Chattanooga side, and the Red Wolves have been unforgiving. Here's Jackson. The youngster tried to tee it up to Diouf. Been a bit quiet since he's subbed into the game. This Lexington side would like to change that. Kim. Into the 18. Rolls it forward. Knocked away by Cardona. And now Kraft surveying where to distribute. And no one around for it. So Emil Knight will collect it. If you're a Red Wolf fan, you have to like what you see here. This is exactly the kind of games that you want to be stacking here at the end of the year. Just show that, hey, like, there is quality in this side. Some things didn't bounce your way this season. A couple of crucial miscues when you couldn't afford them. It's not like there's nothing to work with here, because 5 goals beg to differ. All of which coming from the run of play. Diouf. Not sure if he was looking to shoot it there, if he was trying to hit the cross, either way. Didn't come off the boot correctly. If you're a Chattanooga fan, you see what's happening here. You got a home game next time they play, hosting Central Valley Fuego. Another chance to play one of these teams that are out of the playoff race, so it'll all just be about proving yourselves as a club as a whole, but also each individual with the motivation to do what they can to earn that next contract. Also be Beer Fest at CHI Memorial Stadium. I believe their second time they've had that this season. Kraft nearly was able to send it to Mael Malongo. That'll be national, regional, local beers at the event. Definitely worth checking out. Lexington's next match will be on the road at Bree Stevens Field against Forward Madison. Side that will be looking to bounce back after a loss earlier today. Kim trying to track that one down, but he was offside. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. It's free to play, and you can download it now. You're checking in and keeping yourself tuned in at halftime. Saw one of the ads promoting that. Exciting times for the USL. Hopefully, one day down the line, we'll get USL League One expanded into that. Of course, you're going to start with the big boys in the USL Championship before going to League One, but fantastic opportunity for the USL as a whole. Despite how frustrating this match has been for Lexington. Well, 2 more switches coming in for Nacho Novo's side. Pila Dlamini in for John Smart, and then Jalen James will also make an appearance. And we'll see who he's coming in for here in just a moment. Mitchell, the captain, out of the game. Exiting on the other side of the pitch. So Dlamini and Jalen James into the game. You can see Mitchell making the long walk around the perimeter. Robertson to Kim. Kim gets it tapped away from where he could keep a hold of it. Balagoon loses it. Now it's Robertson with the ball inside. And it couldn't reach Jalen James, nor could it reach Kimball Jackson on the other end. Like I was saying, been a frustrating game for Lexington, but you're not going to see Nacho Novo screaming at his guys. I asked him what kind of presence does he like to maintain on the sideline, and he said, yeah, you won't see me shouting at the players. I'm always looking just to encourage and give them some confidence during the match. He thought back on the different coaches he's had during his time as a player, and he felt the ones he learned the most from were coaches with that sort of demeanor. He mentioned in that game against Charlotte that at halftime he moved Frankie Martinez to more of a holding midfielder role, and talked about how outstanding he was when he switched into that spot. They had more possession, had more chances offensively, and those are the kind of moments of encouragement that he'll be looking to reinforce when he sees them on the pitch. And another substitution underway for Lexington. Not often do you see Tate Robertson sub out of the game, but this will be the case here. We're going to see someone whom has made 3 other appearances this season. Diallo Irakoze, an example of the Pilot Academy season for Lexington. A guy who really shined in that regard and got the chance to play with the first team before the season started, and then got 90 minutes versus this very same Chattanooga team before the regular season started. And he's sort of that shining example for this club, that club academy to first team connection pipeline is real. And they were very pleased that they could have that sort of example occur so early. Irakoze impressing to a point that he earned the right to join the first team. And now making another appearance with the side. That is a dangerous, dangerous collision there. And Pierre Manet is going to be given a yellow card for that. His boot way high in the air, and he also left his feet in general. Mane's 4th yellow card of the season, and I believe that's Johnny Felipe who was on the receiving end of that one, and it was. And that's easily a yellow card for Mane. Guy who has been so good since coming in for Chattanooga, Johnny Felipe. He has 2 assists today, along with a goal himself. So certainly showing out. And you know he's always going to give it his all defensively. Very pesty on the defensive side of the ball, just always buzzing towards you if you've got it. And now, Riley Kraft, someone who scored from a set piece last week. He'll take it here. I think he splits the uprights. A lot of renditions of the other football taking place right now, but this is not one of the football fields that is currently taken to the gridiron right now. Nowhere near enough helmets to go around. Lexington got to be careful. Chattanooga just waiting to sniff out another dangerous moment. They're not going to let up. 3 goals in the first half, and then a goal and another goal within a 2-minute window. Mael Malongo and Omar Gomez both finding the back of the net. Two separate players for Chattanooga today with a pair of assists. Riley Kraft with 2 of them, Johnny Felipe with 2 of them. Lomas is looking to connect with Malongo. Delamini knocks it out wide. Comes to Irakoze. Now Balagoon. He'll cross this one over to James. And that goes out for a Chattanooga throw. Omar Gomez, one of the goal scorers today, getting his first. Mentioned him and Johnny Guadarrama, 2 guys who played for Scott McKenzie during his time at Park City. I asked if having those 2 guys there was good and helpful at the beginning to connect with the locker room. As Gomez has the ball now. Sends it to his man running. Hernandez looking to sift it inside. Ref waves off the contact. Another opportunity for Chattanooga. They'll continue to prowl. But on the topic of having Johnny and Omar here, Scott McKenzie said probably the only benefit it could have had was before he showed up. So when the news came out that McKenzie was going to take over, that window of time between him arriving and meeting the guys and them knowing, he said maybe potentially he had players asking the 2 of them, okay, what's Scott McKenzie like? Is he like this? Is he like that? And he said, well, but I can't guarantee what sort of appraisal I was given. I would hope it was good. I have good relationship with the 2 of them. As Diouf picks the pocket of Mikhail Williams. Ates Diouf! He puts one through. Goal number 13 on the year for the striker. Ates Diouf snatches it from Mikhail Williams. Had Aviles backpedaling. And you need to be in perfect form to stop that man, let alone on your heels. So Diouf gets one back for his side. Which is going to help him in the leaderboard as far as goal scorers this season. So that puts him alone in 3rd place. Coming into today, he was tied with Keziah Sterling and Rafa Mensingen. See there on the screen, substitution for Chattanooga. Alex Tejera in for Marius Lomas. On top of that, second substitution for Chattanooga. Mael Malongo got the start, got the opportunity to start, got a goal, and is now out of the game. Walter Varela coming in to replace him. That's a good shift from Mael Malongo, though. Showed some poison in the first half and then was able to find the back of the net in the second. Missed an opportunity, a big one in the first half of action, but of course made up for it when he got another chance. Here to make it a 5-2 scoreline. Gomez pushing it forward to Mensah. Ropapa Mensah tried to slip it by Eric Ceja Gonzalez, but couldn't quite do it. Omar Gomez continuing to prove his quality. Scott McKenzie said it was really nice to reconnect with him and Johnny. He said, but this isn't Park City, this is the pros, this is Chattanooga, so whatever relationship and expectations that were had in Park City is not necessarily the same now. It's a big difference between League Two and League One. Felipe plays it out wide, driven back centrally. Mensah was around, but not close enough. Pedro Hernandez. Him and Riley Kraft learning the art of the fullback. Gila Dlamini plays it over to Balagoon. Balagoon switching the vantage point to Diouf. Ates Diouf loses the ball. And now he's guarded tightly by Riley Kraft. There's Walter Varela. James couldn't connect with Diouf because he was offside. We've got 10 more minutes plus stoppage time to go in this affair. Chattanooga showing just how much quality they've got on their side, and it coming from several different places. But Johnny Felipe, I think, the highlight of the group with the 2 assists, and then a nice strike to make it 2-0. Here he is now. Out to Varela. Varela rifles that one in. And it'll scream out for a throw-in. We have to live in the present. That's what Scott McKenzie was telling me. He said, my job is to make it black and white for my side. It's easy to understand as a player when you keep it that way. And just in general, everyone can perform better when they have clear expectations of what they'll get from Scott as the coach, and when they have clear expectations of what the coaching staff wants from them. Then a lot of the coaching can be done internally. You can make a decision in a game and then afterwards self-assess. Is that exactly what the team needs me to do in that situation? Is that what my role asks me to do? James still slipping through, and it's knocked away. Eric Ceja Gonzalez to Kim. Once you get to the point where you know what's right and wrong, then you utilize the coaches to find the proper avenues to accomplish your roles and responsibilities on the pitch, as opposed to just trying to learn what you need to do or what you're supposed to do in what the end goals are. Balogun. Nice dragging touch. And he took the shot, but it's off target. Just rolls that one past the defender. Balogun, another striker from Maryland on this Lexington side. And man, Nico Brown sharing that kind of honor. Mentioned at halftime, the big game between Knoxville and Tormenta. They're in the second half now, and it's 1-0 in favor of Tormenta, the reigning champs. Those are the two other teams that are on the outside looking in, along with Lexington, but given the scoreline right now, it may just end up being Knoxville and Tormenta at the end of the night. That's another game, though, that, 3 points very much wanted and maybe needed for any of these teams to make the playoffs, Knoxville or Tormenta. Warnings being issued out right now. Amin Hadzic, our official. No card given, just a stern talking to Jalen James. Player down for Chattanooga. Appears to be Mikhail Williams. Williams the one slow to get up, and they're preparing a substitution to get him out of the pitch to make sure that he is in ship shape and doing all right. That substitution will take place now. Mikhail Williams out, Travis Nicklaw into the game. Nicklaw will slip into that center back spot, nice and tidy, and we'll see the rest of this game through for the visiting side. I'd like to reiterate just how positive a match has been for Chattanooga. They've been looking for that sort of electricity offensively. And Lexington looking to capture some of their own. Zalmini looking to inventively win a corner kick, but isn't able to deflect it off of Cardona. I was talking to Scott McKenzie about what he wants his team to look like. And I believe I came up with the words resilient defensively and electric on the offensive side of the ball, and he said, couldn't have put it better myself, but ultimately, that's my job. His job is to actually have the nuts and bolts of it down and translate it onto the pitch, which is certainly something that's not in my pedigree. And boy, has it translated to the pitch here this evening. Felipe. Still holding on to it. Now releases. Hernandez. Mensah! And that's what I was saying earlier about a guy who can contort his body and shoot anywhere on the 18. Moments like this. Is back to goal. He just twists around and lets it fly, and not too far off the mark. This is a Chattanooga team that's not gonna let up now. That is now 17 shots for Chattanooga, 8 of which on target. Those are numbers I look at after this game, point at them during this week and go, all right, what is it going to take for us to recreate this 3 more times? Because if this is how Chattanooga looks for the rest of the season, it's going to give that fan base a lot to be excited about going into next year. You got a home game against Central Valley, a home game against Greenville, and then you close the season against the Hailstorm. So if you can recreate this at home 2 times, which you would think is more likely than on the road, which is why this is so impressive on top of just the output, but the fact that it's not in front of your home crowd. But if you look good for 2 more games and then you try to carry that momentum into what's probably going to be an important game for the Hailstorm, and see if you can play the party spoilers there. Fox, a little wind around Mensah. This one given away once again. Leffy over the right-hand side for Hernandez. Gomez now gets it right back as we are reaching 90 minutes transpired. And Jackson able to head it to Emil Knight. So these are the last few minutes before Lexington's playoff ambitions are closed off. It'll be 3 more minutes. Their inaugural year in USL League One, but off to a slow start this season. Then they started to really find their footing and really demonstrated their quality as a side over the summer. And although the aspirations every year is to make the playoffs, I think there's a lot that this Lexington club can hang their hat on moving forward. Young side, shown some talent, shown the sort of exciting brand that they can play. And you build up from here. Tahara looking to keep this one in play, but at the expense of giving it away. Dlamini has some room to work with. He sends it forward for Diouf. That's a lovely ball. Ates Diouf goes forward, chips the keeper. And it's a brace for Ates Diouf. Increases his collection to 14 goals. I want to talk about bright spots this season for Lexington. That man, if he's not at the forefront of it, he's still on the poster. Ates Diouf with 14 goals on the year has already accrued interest from elsewhere, so we'll see if he's a guy that sticks around in Lexington next season, or he's a guy that you are able to have the benefit of showing that you can develop. And we got one more switch for the Red Wolves. Andrew Paoli into the game for Johnny Felipe, who had one heck of an evening. 1 goal, 2 assists. 8 goals scored on this one. A high-scoring affair. James. He's got Diouf. But the flag's going to go up. He was definitely behind the back line there. Looking for a late hat trick and potentially some late drama in this one, but we have just about hit that 93 minutes. And there's the whistle from Eamon Hadzic. With that, Lexington officially knocked out of playoff contention, so they'll begin their process of establishing a foundation for next season. And Chattanooga took a great step in that regard here this evening. 5-3 your final score. An offensive surge here at Toyota Stadium. A brace from Ates Diouf. Not enough to keep Lexington alive, but still a lot to be proud of this season, both individually in Diouf, but also just across the program as a whole. 8 goals in this affair. What a match we had. Well, with that in mind, we'll step aside briefly. We'll have our post-game thoughts coming up right after this on ESPN+.
Commonwealth Credit Union is growing and hiring. If you have a passion to help others, come check us out. Our mission is to better lives in the communities we serve through financial products and services, leading-edge technology, and a commitment to treat every person with respect. If you'd like to join our team, visit our website to learn more about our extraordinary culture, pay, benefits, and the many more reasons we are voted a best place to work in Kentucky. Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
Lexington is the Kentuckiest place in the world. Just look at it. It's by far the bluegrassiest, the bourbonist. See? The artsiest, and hands down, the horsiest. Oh, look, that one has a baby. I don't know why you would look anywhere else. Looking for the coolest, most Kentuckiest getaway? Look at Lexington.
Saving up for your goals should be effortless. That's why Commonwealth Credit Union invented Roundup. Roundup automatically puts money into your savings account by rounding up every purchase to the nearest dollar. So your morning brew? Savings. Dinner with friends? How about a side of savings? Mobile purchase? Mobile savings. In fact, last year our members saved $5.5 million just through Roundup. We'll even match your savings for the first 90 days. It's time to make your savings effortless with Roundup. Only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
All right, buckle up for some full-time highlights here on ESPN+. 8 goals to show you here at Toyota Stadium between the Red Wolves and Lexington Sporting Club. Mario Slomis in the 13th minute gets his second goal since returning to USL League One earlier this season for Chattanooga. 1 assist for Johnny Felipe. And then Johnny Felipe would get on the goal sheet himself. You know what? Why not take a shot from right here? Talk about some placement. No curl on that ball. That one just beelining to tuck by the near post, making it 2-0. Then the penalty would be drawn by Nico Brown, and he would tuck it home to make it 2-1, putting the game back in question, but it would not take long to find a response. Just 2 minutes later, the Chattanooga Red Wolves, courtesy of Riley Kraft, connects with Ropapa Mensah, and he goes into double digits on the season concerning goals scored. That wouldn't be the last assist Riley Kraft would have, and as a matter of fact, here it is right here. Service comes in, and Omar Gomez gets his first goal as a Chattanooga Red Wolf, joining Johnny Felipe in collecting that honor this evening. Then just moments later, Felipe would get his second assist, synced up with Mael Malongo, who made his return to the starting lineup today and making it count. 5-1 your scoreline at this point in time, but Lexington would sub on Ates Diouf in the second half, and Ates Diouf just does things like this, picking the pocket and scoring against Carlos Aviles, which would put him at 13 goals on the season. but he would make it 14 here to pad his lead in third place in the Golden Boot race, just behind Olex Anderson, and then considerably behind Trevor Hammond, but so is everybody. 14 goals on the year for Atis Diouf, but not enough. Lexington eliminated as we look at the stats. 17 shots, 8 of which on target for Chattanooga. That is something Scott McKenzie will be pointing to this week and saying, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm talking about. They'll look to translate that to a home game next week against Central Valley Fuego. Meanwhile, a road trip to Madison for Nacho Novo side and Lexington SC. Hope to see you tuning into those games next weekend on ESPN+. But we also have games taking place tonight on ESPN+. I'd recommend that Tormenta Knoxville game and Northern Colorado Hailstorm and North Carolina FC, 2 massive matches as far as playoff implications are concerned. But for this broadcast, our entire broadcasting crew, my name is Mark Schoenstert. We'd like to extend a thank you for tuning in, and good night to all of you who watched. We'll see you next time.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.